A day in the cemetery, bathed in harsh sunlight. The tombstones are cracked and weathered, casting long shadows in the midday sun. A group of ravens circles above the cemetery, their dark wings casting fleeting shadows on the ground as they move in eerie synchrony. A raven perched atop a tombstone engraved with R.I.P. Caven. There are stories buried here, secrets that cling to the soil like roots. But none are as cursed as the tale of Caven. A rugged man in tattered clothing digs a grave under the harsh midday sun. His name tag reads Caven. He hums a somber tune, pausing occasionally to wipe sweat from his brow as he digs deeper into the earth. Caven was a grave digger, a man who spent his life among the dead. He believed every tombstone had a story, every grave a secret. But it was not his curiosity that doomed him. It was his greed. Caven unearths a small, ornate box buried in the soil. He opens it to reveal glimmering jewels and coins. His eyes widen with greed. A treasure. All mine. Sudden sound of wings flapping. A raven lands nearby, watching him with unnerving intensity. The cemetery's guardian had seen his crime. A raven, black as midnight and sharp as sin, circled him like a judge passing sentence. The raven attacks. Caven screams as the bird pecks at his face. Blood drips as the raven gouges out his eyes. Caven's lifeless body collapses into the open grave. They found his body the next morning, but his eyes were gone. The townsfolk buried him where he fell, but his spirit found no rest. The raven perches on Caven's tombstone in the bright sunlight. Its glowing red eyes flicker in the daylight. The raven's form begins to shift, and the faint outline of Caven's spirit emerges. His spectral figure sits beside the grave, a sinister smile on his face.
Caven. Ah, another visitor. Do you hear their whispers? The dead, they tell me their secrets, their regrets, their sins. And now, I'll tell you. Raven gestures to a nearby gravestone.
Margaret Hale, he reads.
The raven called Margaret Hale, sweet, kind Margaret, or so they thought. But her hands weren't so innocent, you see. She poisoned her own husband to keep his fortune. Now, her spirit wanders, searching for the life she stole.
As Caven speaks, ghostly images of Margaret and her crime appear, fading in and out like shadows in the daylight.
Caven, every grave has a story, and I am cursed to tell them all.
The raven caws loudly, breaking the eerie silence. Caven's spectral form fades back into the bird. Caven as he takes flight, joining the circling flock of ravens above, disappearing into the bright sky. So beware if you find yourself in the cemetery even in the daylight. For Caven watches, and he knows your secrets too.